Shakur Stevenson and William Zepeda have verbally agreed to a WBC lightweight title fight. Pugmire reported that the fight is scheduled for October 12th in Riyadh on the undercard of the Artur Beterbiev versus Dmitry Bivol bout. Zepeda's promoter shared a tweet on his handle about the negotiations of the WBC lightweight title fight between these two rising stars. According to him, the potential match is tentatively scheduled for late November or December. Trainer Jay Panda Najjar tells me that talks began to see William Zepeda versus Shakur Stevenson for the WBC lightweight title. Cameron is ready for late November or December. Meanwhile, WBC issued a public statement about this bout. Michael Benson posted a tweet on his X saying, "Both of these fighters have made significant moves in their careers. Their distinctive style and impressive record set the stage for a highly anticipated bout. Shakur Stevenson has an undefeated record of 22 wins, with 10 by KOs. He's known for his southpaw style and lightning-fast reflexes, and has secured multiple world titles, including the WBC Junior Lightweight Championship, demonstrating his technical prowess and ability to control fights. On the other hand, William Zepeda is an undefeated fighter with a record of 31 wins, 27 by knockout. This showed his knockout ratio is approximately 87%, significantly higher. He's recognized as a fighter who has an aggressive, pressure fighting style, and is considered to be dangerous for all the opponents he will meet in the ring. His courage and aggression have got him the name of live underdog, and he is convinced that he has what it takes to deny Stevenson a first professional defeat. This fight does not only depict the contrasting styles of the two fighters, but has high stakes of being a do-or-die fight for the two, since both seek to establish themselves in the boxing competition. Before the WBC ordered the fight, Shakur seemed to praise Zepeda. He stated, "Zepeda is a hell of a fighter. I don't even think I've been in the ring in my professional career with a fighter like that. He throws a bunch of punches. He's great with his own style, and a guy like that will bring the best out of me." All this made this matchup highly anticipated for boxing fans and analysts, and it's also considered to be the most challenging fight. Overcoming this opponent would not only be a career highlight, but also a monumental achievement in Shakur's career. Even though Turk Alalshik also advised Shakur to focus on defending his title against William, instead of involving himself in side fights.
Usually, the more technical. You can't be shooting a jab like this. Amateurs do this.
This also confirmed the news regarding Shakur versus William. Before it, there were speculations and doubts about the possibility of this event, because William's promoter has publicly stated his interest in fighting, but has imposed a condition for the match to happen. His statement sets the stage for possible negotiations and rivalry between the two boxing firms due to the desire for the much-anticipated fight. He expressed his skepticism in these words, "Had a great meeting with Shakur Stevenson representatives, as William Zepeda too will only fight him if Shakur is signed to Golden Boy Boxing." The promoter Eddie Hearn has also shared his 2 cents on this statement and highlighted it as a contradictory stance to the idea of promoting the best fights and champions in the boxing world. Hearn criticized the firmness of Golden Boy Boxing, who wanted Shakur in a long-term contract before the fight happened. Hearn believes that a fighter should remain loyal, but this cannot be coerced through signing long-term contracts. "For me, I don't really care for tying a fighter down for 5 fights or 3 years. If they like working with you, they like working with you. If they don't, they don't." He stressed that Golden Boy should welcome the chance to sign Stevenson's talent and build the Zepeda fight as part of its promotional portfolio instead of applying oppressive conditions. He stated, "Someone like Golden Boy and Oscar De La Hoya should be desperate to get Shakur Stevenson on their platform, and, making a fight between him and Zepeda to say that we have Shakur Stevenson, rather than trying to lock him down in a long-term contract." Hearn also highlighted the hypocrisy of De La Hoya advocating for fights between the best boxers while simultaneously imposing a restrictive condition for a potential matchup. He emphasized that both Matchroom Boxing and Golden Boy Boxing are on the same DAZN platform, yet it is troubling that the latter is demanding exclusivity. This statement fuels the ongoing rivalry between the two boxing promotions. He said, Oscar De La Hoya, also said that he would only make the fight if he was with Golden Boy, which is a disgrace to boxing. This is from a guy who says promoters should work together and that the best should fight the best. Now you can only get Zepeda if you're with Golden Boy, which is bizarre. We're Matchroom Boxing with the same platform, DAZN. Apart from this, Eddie Hearn disses De La Hoya on Shakur versus Zepeda during one of his interviews. He stated,
maybe he wants the money. And at that point, you have to say to your promoter, I want that fight, I want that money. With all due respect, whatever you don't like, this is what I want. The fighter is the boss. And fighters need to understand that. You tell your promoter what you want. Now, if they can deliver it or not, it might not be easy to deliver, but you have to tell your promoter what you want. If you want a shot at the world title, if you want a massive payday, you tell your promoter that I want to fight Shakur Stevenson. And Oscar, I'm sure, wants to make a big fight, and who knows what'll happen.
Well, he did a clapback Thursdays. I don't know.
Meanwhile, he provided an update to the audience about Zepeda versus Shakur and took a jab at the promoter for their perceived shortcomings in fulfilling their obligations and calling a lack of professionalism or efficiency in handling the event a reason.
He wants to fight for the world title. The kid, I'm sure, wants to make a lot of money. There's a lot of money in Shakur Stevenson against Zepeda. Just because you don't want to work with people, it's got nothing to do with you. I mean, it's so disrespectful to a fighter. That's like me saying to one of my fighters, "You're not having that fight because I don't like that. I'm going to make the decisions." The fight, I say to the fighter, "What do you want?" And the fighter says, "Now, if Zepeda don't want the fight, if Zepeda don't want the money, if Zepeda don't want a shot at the world title, that's his prerogative, but not the promoter. Do your job, respect the fighter. You work for the fighter." That's it.
Zepeda promoter was in the news not only because of this statement, but he seemed to be in negotiation with Bob Arum before getting a confirmation call from Turk Alalshik. The promoter Oscar De La Hoya, who's known as a prominent boxing figure, issued a direct challenge to Shakur Stevenson during a post-fight interview. Following a victory for his fighter, William Zepeda, De La Hoya expressed a desire to see a match between Stevenson and Zepeda, publicly calling out the former to accept the fight. He said in the ring, "Shakur, if you're watching, let's get it on. Let's go." Oscar De La Hoya also showed distrust in regards to Golden Boy Boxing's commitment about whether or not they would be able to deliver big fights, specifically the order of bout for Canelo Alvarez against David Benavidez, which has not been set. He also suggested that there is a possibility that the match between Zepeda and Stevenson might not come through, and that Zepeda has several other possibilities to consider as his next fight. He stated, "What does that mean? They ordered Canelo Benavidez about 3 years ago, and that hasn't happened. William will make his decision very soon, and he has 3 other options." However, Bob responded to him by calling this bout just a phone call away. He challenged De La Hoya and proposed a potential venue for the bout, demonstrating the intention from Stevenson's side to make the fight happen. While talking to Boxing Scene, he stated, "Let Oscar call me, and I'll get that fight done for July. We have a date, July 6th, and the Prudential Center is reserved. We certainly would consider him." He didn't stop his call out here, but he continued to show his expectations regarding this fight in different interviews. While talking to the Sunday Morning interview, Arum also took a jab at De La Hoya and all other fighters who made bold claims to get in the public eyes and then stepped back. He stressed the fact that there's a great logistical problem involved in making the fight happen, as Zepeda is under a different promotional company. So what he said is that the negotiations are in their preliminary phase only, and thus the fans should not get carried away at the same time. He said Zepeda is signed to another promoter, so we need to wait for that call. He also expressed his high opinion of Shakur Stevenson's boxing abilities and called him exceptionally talented and unbeatable. Meanwhile, he showed his belief that Shakur's fight with Zepeda would be interesting and confidently claimed that Stevenson would emerge as a winner. He stated, "I don't think anyone can defeat Shakur. He's way different. Zepeda would be an interesting fight, sure, but nobody's going to beat Shakur. He's the best fighter around all those divisions. He's just really special." Meanwhile, he positioned Stevenson as the dominant force in multiple weight divisions. He concluded his statement in these words, "Sure, if Garcia falls out, we will go after that fight. But right now, Garcia and Haney are scheduled to fight." Among this chaos, Turk Alalshik announced the Shakur versus William Zepeda for a mandatory WBC lightweight title fight. Stevenson will defend his WBC 135-pound belt against Zepeda. The WBC order has given Stevenson and Zepeda until August 20th to negotiate the fight. If they fail to reach an agreement, a purse bid will decide their fate.
We want to see this fight, and I want to see Shakur Zepeda.
Shakur Stevenson is here as well.
He accept. De La Hoya accept. Eddie accept. Let's do it.
Before this, Shakur also showed a deep desire to meet Zepeda in the ring and secure the title so he could show his power as a strong fighter in the boxing world. But he was allowed to pick the fighter after accepting the fight with Tank, who is also an undefeated champion and contender for Shakur in the boxing world. On the other hand, Zepeda, who left the industry abuzz after his 4th-round stoppage of England's Maxie Hughes, directly challenged Shakur. While talking after his Saturday's big win, he called out Shakur in the ring. He said, "In a perfect world, I want Shakur next. Zepeda told The Ring after Saturday's big win. "I'm ready to answer that call." In response to this, Shakur, who's left without an opponent for the occasion, posted a tweet on his X account. He wrote, "A real killer right in front of me, and I don't have any opponent lined up." He ended it with a hashtag, "I Stevenson Zepeda next, let's make it happen." But Zepeda seemed to repeatedly call out Shakur in his interviews. He publicly declared his interest in a fight against the young boxing champion Shakur Stevenson. According to him, he has a perfect fighting style that fits in the ring as Stevenson, and says that this will be such an exciting and competitive match. Zepeda is also trying to indicate that July would be a convenient month for him to resume action, which puts him up for an offer to face Stevenson. This statement is made after discussions with his team on what he needs to do next in his career. "We're going to sit down as a team and discuss what's next for me, but I really feel out of all the champions out there, my style and Shakur's match up the best. He needs an opponent, and July is perfect timing for me to return." Not only is Zepeda's team calling out Shakur again and again, but Shakur also seemed to call out the names of big fighters with the intent of showcasing his fighting skills as a powerful opponent. During one of his interviews, he stated,
"I think that's the real issue. We got to get somebody signed a dotted line, but if I could pick, it's either Lomachenko, and if they go fight each other, I say Zepeda. Why Zepeda keep saying my name and clout chasing me and then won't fight me? I don't think he should get a pass for that either."
Shakur seemed very confident in his abilities and had shown his determination multiple times. However, analysts criticize his fighting style and consider him a boring fighter in the ring. They also emphasize the challenges and dangers Shakur would face while coming into the ring against a knockout artist like Zepeda, even though Maxie Hughes, who lost his fight with William, warned him of Zepeda's aggressive fighting style.
What, Zepeda Stevenson?
Yes.
It'd be good, it'd be good to see if Shakur could keep the distance and keep him off him. He's Zepeda has seen from, obviously we've studied him a lot of his fights, they all go that way, sort of way. He comes forward relentlessly, so it'd be interesting to see him in with somebody like Shakur or Lomachenko or Haney.
Shakur is not ignorant of Williams' power as a fighter. He acknowledged Zepeda's exceptional fighting abilities, unique style, and gave high praise to him. He even claimed that he had never faced an opponent quite like him in his professional career. "Zepeda is a hell of a fighter. I don't even think I've been in the ring in my professional career with a fighter like that." He also emphasized that a fight against Zepeda would be a challenging test that would push him to his limits and ultimately elevate his own performance. "He throws a bunch of punches, he's great with his own style, and a guy like that will bring the best out of me." Zepeda's promoter also acknowledged this and highlighted his success and dominance. By mentioning his 4 sanctioning bodies, he sends a message that he is a highly sought-after champion with multiple title options. While showcasing Zepeda's position of power in the boxing world, where he has the luxury of selecting his next opponent without being dictated to by any single governing body, he said, "Check this out. William is so badass he has 4 sanctioning bodies to choose from. Nobody will tell him who he must fight next." Some of the boxing champions are also praising Shakur and offering him support despite the fact that he's being criticized for his fighting style. Terrence Crawford, one of the champions, came forward and showed his admiration for Shakur. He acknowledged his boxing skills and emphasized his purity and effectiveness in the ring. He stated, "Shakur is one of the best boxers in the game, if not the best pure boxer. So, I just tell Shakur to continue doing what you're doing. Don't worry about the negative attention or the backlash you're getting from beating the guy convincingly." Meanwhile, he highlighted the factor that not all fighters are knockout punchers and defended Stevenson against negative feedback by stressing the importance of clear victories. He said, "Everybody's not a knockout puncher. Everybody's not going to go in there and knock every one of their opponents out. As long as you're winning in a fashion where there's no confusion about who the winner is, then you're doing something right." So, there's a mixed opinion coming from the top dogs of the boxing world and from the fans. But Shakur's recent activities showed that he's more interested in having a fight against Loma. He called him out multiple times, and for some reason, it's not going to happen. All this fueled the anger in Shakur, and recently he seemed to have a heated conflict with Loma. Tension between Shakur and Loma escalated into a heated verbal exchange outside the ring during the Crawford vs. Israel fight on August 4, 2024, where both were present to support Crawford. Lomachenko reportedly challenged Stevenson, asking him to fight and then stating, "Let's go right now," outside. Shakur responded to him, "You are bluffing." Also, while talking to Fight Hype, he said, he wants to act tough outside the ring, but don't want to fight me. Lomachenko in turn insisted that Stevenson only requested the fight for the money, declaring, he just wants money. He asks about the fight. He wants to use my name for the money, that's it. Despite all the chaos and verbal exchange, his fight has been confirmed with William Zepeda, and now fans are eager to know more details about this fight. So if you want to know the latest updates about this fight, stay tuned.